Henry was awaiting a goods train at Brendam. Salty was still arranging it.
Aye, sorry shipmate for the delay. I'm working single-handedly for a while.
Oh, it's alright, but what happened to Porter?
Overhaul. He's been sent all the way to the States for it. He's getting a bunch of new parts. Has my radiators wondering, though.
And why's that?
Engine's getting all these new parts. Reminds me of an old Greek legend.
Oh?
Ever heard of the ship of Theseus?
No, I don't read too much.
Well, when King Theseus and the youth of Athens returned from Crete, the Athenians preserved their ship. But over time, their wooden planks rotted and needed to be replaced. And eventually, all the planks had been replaced with new wood. So it begs the question, is the ship still Theseus's, or something entirely new?
That's, an interesting point of view. Salty was confused. He didn't know that many years ago, Henry had undergone a major rebuild himself. That night at the sheds, Henry was still worried. You all remember my rebuild, right? Oh no, it's definitely not the second most talked thing about you. What's the first? Well, the tunnel, of course. That's a separate issue. But today Salty brought something up. What if an engine is rebuilt to the point where all its original parts have been replaced? Is it still the same engine?
That is a thought-provoking question, Henry. Are you the same Henry that we knew before? Or are you someone else?
Well, I remember everything from before, like coming to Sodor, using Welsh coal, and the flying kipper crash that led to the rebuild. Do you remember the tunnel? Yes, I remember the tunnel. Good. Never forget.
Well, Henry, I think Salty's thought experiment has some truth to it. You really aren't the flawed engine design you were before. So it begs question.
Henry sat silently. He thought talking to the other engines would help, but they had no real replies. The next day when Henry went out to work, he was still thinking about himself. Am I the real Henry? Of course I am. I'm so different than when I started out. Wouldn't that make me not anymore? Meanwhile, Neville, a nervous engine, was moving some trucks of construction waste. Neville shunted the trucks too far, and one stuck out on the main line. Oh my, I'm so sorry. I wasn't thinking where I was going, and it's alright. I wasn't either. Later, Harvey came with the breakdown train.
Don't worry, Henry. I'll take you straight to the steamworks.
Oh great. More replaced parts. Harvey took Henry to the steamworks and placed him next to Skarloey. The little old narrow-gauge engine was having his routine maintenance.
Hello, Henry. You look rather glum. What's the matter?
Hello, Skarloey. You know the rebuild I had in 1935, right?
Of course I do. That triumph of an engine is certainly talked about everywhere.
Well, it has me thinking. That was a major rebuild, and since then I've gone through many parts. Does that make me the same engine?
Boy, you're talking to an engine in his hundreds. I've gone through far more parts than you have.
But do you still feel like the same engine?
Why, I feel better. You see, parts are simply that. Parts. They make you really useful. And when they're eventually worn or beyond broken, you get new ones. It's a part of being an engine.
But doesn't that mean you're no longer the engine you were when you were built?
Well, I may be different, but my history is still me. I'm the engine known as Skarloey, and I'll always be Skarloey, just like how you'll always be Henry. Now, let Victor fix you up so Henry can get steaming again.
When Henry was mended, he returned to Brendam to speak to Salty.
Aye, matey, good to see ya puffin' again.
Oh, thank you, Salty. By the way, I've been thinking more and asking around about Theseus's ship and Porter's overhaul.
Have you now?
Yes, and I think that what makes something or someone itself is the history behind it, and rebuilds, overhauls, and repairs are a part of its history.
Yar, of course, shipmate. I know that when Porter returns, he'll be the same Porter as before. Besides, the whole question of Theseus's ship is just a bunch of philosophy mumbo-jumbo.
Is it now?
Aye, it is. You know, some people will go to school for 4 or more years just to study things like that.
Wow, I can't imagine doing that.
Yar, me neither.